Today we're comparing the new Galaxy Tab S10 Lite from Samsung to the Xiaomi Pad 7 to see which is the better, more affordable option. So let's go ahead and get started. Pricing for these two are pretty similar, around $350 or less depending on where you get them. Storage options are 128 or 256 for both of these tablets. One advantage with the S10 Lite is you can use a microSD card to expand the storage, where you don't have that option with the Xiaomi Pad 7. Build quality is actually nicer than you would think for this category. One thing I did notice is the Xiaomi Pad 7 rocks back and forth quite a bit when you lay it down because of the larger camera bump on the back, where with the S10 Lite, it doesn't really rock back and forth at all. Samsung is also heavier at 524 grams versus 500 for the Xiaomi Pad 7. The display sizes are pretty similar at 10.9 inches for the Galaxy Tab, 11.2 inches for the Xiaomi Pad, but you will get higher resolution on the Xiaomi Pad 7 at 2136 by 3200 versus 1320 by 2112 on the S10 Lite. The Xiaomi Pad is also brighter at up to 800 nits peak brightness versus 600 for the S10 Lite. You'll also get a higher refresh rate at 144 Hz versus 90 Hz on the S10 Lite. Now there's a lot of variables when it comes to battery life, but when I ran my typical battery drain test at 100% screen brightness, the S10 Lite lasted about 7.5 hours versus only 6 hours for the Xiaomi Pad 7. The screen is actually brighter on the Xiaomi Pad 7, so if you turn that down, probably going to be a lot closer. So pretty good battery life when compared to other tablets that I've tested. One advantage for the Xiaomi Pad 7 is you get up to 45 watt fast charging versus only 25 watts for the S10 Lite. When it comes to the software, there will be some similarities between these two since they're both on Android, but obviously the style and look is going to be a little bit different. It's pretty nice you have Samsung DeX on the S10 Lite if you want to be a little more productive, and then you have Workstation on the Xiaomi Pad, which is somewhat like the new Samsung DeX with floating windows. So pretty good options on both, really. Another advantage for the Xiaomi Pad is you have video out, so you can connect to a projector, TV, or external monitor using an HDMI adapter, and that's something that should be on all tablets in my opinion. I would have to give another advantage to the S10 Lite though, since the S Pen is included, where you have to buy the focus pen separately with the Xiaomi Pad 7. It's also going to be tough to beat when it comes to software support at 7 years for Samsung versus 4 years major software updates for the Xiaomi Pad, 6 years security updates. One advantage for the Xiaomi Pad 7 is going to be the overall performance. As you can see here by the benchmark scores, the Xiaomi Pad 7 is quite a bit more powerful with the Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 3 processor versus an Exynos 1380 in the S10 Lite. Samsung also starts with 6 GB of RAM versus 8 in the Xiaomi Pad. You can also go up to 8 GB for the S10 Lite, but you can go all the way up to 12 GB for the Xiaomi Pad 7. I think both of these are going to be nice options if you want to do some light gaming. They're pretty comfortable when holding, and it's easy to reach things on the screen. But obviously if you want the tablet with better performance, you'll definitely want to go with the Xiaomi Pad 7. Another advantage for the Xiaomi Pad 7 is it has a quad speaker setup versus 2 speakers on the S10 Lite. So not a huge surprise, but the Xiaomi Pad 7 is going to sound a little better overall compared to the S10 Lite. But here's a quick sample of each just to give you an idea of how they compare.
But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away, as you fade away, as you fade away.
When it comes to cameras, one advantage for the Xiaomi Pad is you can record up to 4K resolution versus 1080p for Samsung. You also get higher resolution cameras with a 13 megapixel on the back, 8 megapixel on the front versus 8 megapixel on the back of the S10 Lite and a 5 megapixel camera on the front. I know most people probably aren't going to be using their cameras on tablets as much as your cell phone, but here's a few quick samples just to give you an idea of how they compare. I think overall you have two pretty nice, more affordable tablet options. If you want better performance, a higher resolution display with higher refresh rate, and better sounding speakers, you'll want to go with the Xiaomi Pad 7. But I still think there's some people out there that'll want longer software support that you get with Samsung, plus you have the S Pen included, and it's got expandable storage as well. So kind of personal preference and how you're going to be using your tablet. But I know I have a lot more tablet comparisons that I'm working on and a lot more stuff as usual, so you'll want to keep an eye out for those upcoming videos. So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from Fishbee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.